Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. The threats to America grow. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. In a provocation the White House has not seen since the Vietnam War, the Russian dictator Putin is trying to humiliate Barack Obama. Apparently, the Russians have now violated the 1987 missile treaty by testing a new type of cruise missile. Also, Putin continues to attack Ukraine as military units inside Russia are firing rockets into that besieged country. Want more? Russian allies continue to block the investigation of the downed Malaysian airliner shot out of the sky 2 weeks ago by Russian-made missiles. 298 human beings died, Putin directly responsible. But instead of pulling back, Putin continues to spit in our eye. He now says he'll restore relations with Castro's Cuba. Provocation off the chart. So today, President Obama imposed new sanctions on Russia.
Today, and building on the measures we announced 2 weeks ago, the United States is imposing new sanctions in key sectors of the Russian economy: energy, arms, and finance. We're blocking the exports of specific goods and technologies to the Russian energy sector. We're expanding our sanctions to more Russian banks and defense companies. And we're formally suspending credit that encourages exports to Russia and financing for economic development projects in Russia.
The Cold War here again. Mr. Obama also saying Europe will impose more sanctions. But don't hold your breath on that. France continues to say it will send 2 warships to Russia in return for a boatload of cash, pardon the pun. The Europeans have acted cowardly in the face of Putin's aggression. Now, I have no beef with what the president did today other than to suggest that it should have been done months ago. And he should encourage American banks to stop taking credit card receipts from Russia. That would scorch the villain Putin, who so far has laughed at the sanctions. President Obama had to take the action today because all around him, things are going south in a hurry. In Israel, the fighting between Hamas and the Israelis continues. Hundreds are dead, and the USA is powerless to stop the carnage. There is no question Hamas is a terror group in business to wipe out Israel. The Palestinians are being held captive by Hamas. And once again, America can't do anything about it. In Iran, negotiations over nuclear weapons continue because the Obama administration has given that country nearly $3 billion to stay at the table. It bribed them. It's hard to believe that any meaningful deal will be reached about the nukes, although it's not impossible. In Iraq, intel reports say the ISIS army, a vicious offshoot of al-Qaeda, is poised to attack Baghdad. These jihadists are murdering Christians in the streets and terrorizing much of that nation. President Obama has taken no action, none at all, against the ISIS army, even though they have been in business and building power for years. In Afghanistan, an inspector general's report says the Obama administration cannot account for 750,000 weapons given to Afghan forces. America simply does not know where those weapons are. And reports say the Taliban is making military gains throughout Afghanistan using some U.S. weaponry. In Libya, the USA has now closed its embassy in Tripoli and evacuated because security is so terrible there, as the jihadists continue to terrorize that country. In Colorado, Defense Intelligence Agency Director Lieutenant General Michael Flynn says the terrorist ideology behind al-Qaeda is growing fast.
We use the term core al-Qaeda. And I have been going against these guys for a long time. The core is the core belief that these individuals
and that's
have.
not on the run.
It's not on the run, and that ideology is actually sadly it feels like it's exponentially growing.
And if that isn't frightening, nothing is. Finally, on the southern border, the chaos continues as U.S. authorities cannot stop the flow of illegal aliens into this country. President Obama says he'll take action after his summer vacation unilaterally, without congressional approval. Right now, we don't know what that action might be. And so you can see that on just about every front, there is danger to we the people. Terrorism is growing. There's a mini war in the Middle East. Iran will most likely get a nuclear weapon, and Putin is causing an enormous amount of trouble, pretty much unchecked. President Obama still has his supporters who spin the situation his way. But the facts prove Mr. Obama's foreign policy has failed dismally. There is no question the jihadists want to attack America again and are growing in strength, so do the math. It is long past time for all Americans, liberals and conservatives, Republicans, independents, and Democrats, to demand that the federal government admit failure and devise effective strategies to protect us and other innocent people around the world. When a villain like Putin, whose economy is on the brink of a recession, can humiliate the United States of America, something is terribly wrong. Talking Points is sounding the alarm, and all of us should take this very seriously.